All right. How we doing, everybody? Welcome back to episode 12 of the That's an Awful Take podcast. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Price Mancer, here to make the most out of your day. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Thursday as always. Hope everyone's had a great week. It's been a long one, I'm not going to lie, but we're here. We're here to make a great episode. We got lots to talk about as always. You know what we do. We're going to hit a little shameless plug here. Make sure you guys follow the Instagram and the TikTok. We got both. Instagram, TAAT Pod, so Tap Pod on Instagram and TikTok, both of them. I haven't posted anything yet, but I will start, right? So I got a little microphone for my phone. We're going to do some short form content. It's going to be fantastic stuff. Can't wait for it. You know, hopefully get some short term content going, get the views up, you know, get a little more people known about the pod, and it'll all be a great time. So in today's episode, we're going to do a little recap of the Eagles, Commanders, and Chiefs Bills game. So the two NFL Conference Championship games, both great. Maybe not the first one. Eagles Commanders wasn't all that, but Chiefs Bills was a great game. We're gonna go over my top 10 QBs in the NFL draft right now as it stands through halfway through the Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, and all that. And then we're going to go through a little bit of NBA. So I've been talking about it for forever, it feels like now, since pretty much the start of the podcast, about how I was going to talk about the NBA. I love basketball. I really do love basketball. But, with college football coming to an end and the draft and whatnot, it's been a little chaotic, Super Bowl and all that. So, finally going to get on the topic of the NBA. My plan for next week, obviously, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl next week. And then probably get into more NBA stuff since, football season will be wrapping up. NBA, college basketball, baseball, we'll get into full swing with that stuff after the Super Bowl. So really exciting stuff for the podcast. I'm glad I get to branch out a little bit, talk less about football, more about other things. I hope you guys like that. We're still going to do, of course, draft and transfer portal content as it moves along, especially when the spring portal opens up. But that's just a little update on what's going to be happening here in the future. So let's get right into a little recap here of our conference championship games. So we got Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, Commanders, obviously. Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Chiefs looking for the three-peat. Will they get it? Who knows? No one's ever done it before, but honestly, I think they have a really good chance of doing it, being the first team to get the three-peat. So Eagles Commanders, kind of not the greatest game ever. It was good for a little bit, but the Eagles really just ran away from it. And then Chiefs Bills was spectacular as always. Always a great game there. So let's go ahead and get into this Eagles Commanders game. So as you can see, 55-23, Eagles break the record for the most points scored in a playoff game in NFL history, I think, or something like that, something along those lines. And they just looked electric. 21 points in the fourth quarter, held Washington scoreless. Washington really struggled to get the ball going. I think they hit 4 field goals. So, pretty rough stuff there. Saquon Barkley, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Absolutely nasty. A.J. Brown went off, and Jalen Hurts played great, So let's get into it. So, this is kind of what I expected to happen with this game. Props to the Commanders, first of all, for making it this far to begin with. They went, 4-13 last season, and then come back, go 12-5, and then 12-5, make it all the way to the playoffs, beat the Lions, who everyone thought was the best team in the NFC, and then make it all the way to the conference championship. So hats off to them, really. Dan Quinn did such a great job. Cliff Kingsbury, our offensive coordinator, did a great job. Jaden Daniels, just absolutely electric. Going to be the rookie of the year. So you really love to see that. So great for them. Really impressive season. But, as I expected, it was the run game. We talked about it a little bit last week. The run game against Washington was unable to stop the run, really, against the Lions last week. Jahmyr Gibbs had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. And, of course, Saquon Barkley is going to likely do the same thing, right? So Saquon Barkley, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had that 60-yard touchdown at first play on offense for the Eagles. And yeah, it was just absolute dominance on the ground. Jalen Hurts, tush push, all that good stuff. So, and a lot of it, credit for the Eagles defense, right? The Eagles defense was able to force 4 turnovers, 1 interception, and 3 fumbles. Just able to punch it out and then get in great field position. And then, once you're in great field position, it's pretty easy to score. So, Eagles defense was massive in helping them win. Even with Nakobe Dean out, they have Zach Bond, they have Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell looked good. The rookies, Darius Slay played pretty good. There was just, firing on all cylinders. Nolan Smith has had a sack in every playoff game so far. So really just electric stuff from the Eagles defense there. Let me stop glazing. But, Jalen Hurts able to play turnover-free football. We talked about it last week. I said, listen, Jalen Hurts, he just comes off a game where he throws 15 passes for 120 yards. And I said, Jalen Hurts needs to have a really good game. He needs to make it look great, play turnover-free football and just dial it up a little bit, right? You're not going to win against this Commanders team by only throwing 15 passes for 120 yards. And lo and behold, look what happens. Jalen Hurts, 20 passes for 20 for 28, 246 yards and a touchdown. And I think he had some more on the ground. So really dialed it up. 0 turnovers for the Eagles. That's the big difference maker there. We talked about it a lot with the playoff games last week, is the turnover margin. Keeping the ball safe wins you the football game. So Eagles don't turn it over. Jalen Hurts continues to play efficient football. And the Eagles as a whole, right? So he did that. And, if you're the Commanders, right, you really can't have Zach Ertz being your number 1 receiver, right? 11 receptions, 104 yards. Probably the greatest game Zach Ertz has had in the past 3 seasons, right? And all the power to him, excuse me. But when you have weapons like Terry McLaurin, like De'Ami Brown, he really shouldn't be. He's a great third option to them for sure. But you really should you should be able to lean on McLaurin and De'Ami Brown, right? Well, De'Ami Brown and Terry McLaurin were both limited to only 3 receptions here. So as you can see, 3 receptions, 51 yards. Obviously, McLaurin had the touchdown, but really, they weren't able to get those 2 going. And when you're not able to get your 2 best receivers going, it's not great. And then you look at what they're doing with the run. Brian Robinson only had 3 yards of carry. Austin Eckler only had 2, pretty much. So the Eagles' run defense really stepped up. The only person who was really able to move anywhere was Jaden Daniels. And they just weren't able to get the ball out as efficiently as they could have, and how as efficiently as they could have, and as efficiently as they have had in the past, right? So just a rough game offensively for the Commanders. I mean, what can you do? This is a team that's never been in this spot before. This is a team that is, this is their first year really having this roster, having, you have a new head coach, new coordinators, new QB, a new play caller, right? So really, honestly, this is should exceed everyone's expectations, right? Yeah, it's sad they lost, but they're already exceeding expectations. You can only ride it for so long. So really great game from the Commanders there. So they have a lot in store in the future. Let's be real. I mean, probably one of the hottest teams, especially for next year. I mean, it should be a really hot free agency destination. Maybe Washington getting a wide receiver 2 and like a T. Higgins guy. We'll have to see when free agency happens. It's going to be really exciting. So, yeah, as you can see here, the 3 fumbles lost. Pretty rough stuff for Washington. Next, we're going to talk about the Chiefs and the Bills. So, I mean, this was a great game. All in all, just a great game, right? I had the Bills winning, and they almost pulled it out, but, it's just one of those things. You really can't beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs unless you're like Tom Brady or something. Or Jalen Hurts, apparently. I think they lost. Never mind. Anyways, just couldn't squeeze it out. The 4th and inches call was pretty rough there. I mean, you have one angle where it looks like Josh Allen is over. The other angle's not so much. The line judge closest to the good angle said he was short. The far away line judge said he was over. It was, I feel like even though the call was rough, it was one of those where they're just going to stick with the ruling on the field. So I feel like if the ruling on the field was that he got the first down, they would have kept, they would have reviewed it and it would have been a first down, and game would still be going on. But that wasn't the call on the field. Obviously, they called him short. They review it, not enough evidence to overturn. Which it's one of those things about the NFL that you're going to have a gripe with. I mean, NFL organization with all this money can't get better cameras, can't get a better look on the sideline, right? So it's just one of those things that, I mean, we've seen it happen in NFL history constantly. People are still going to watch it, though. People are still going to do all that. But it would be nice to have some sort of fix to make it better. That's just my one gripe, But Mahomes looked very good. I mean, when does he not? He's the best quarterback in the league. Looked very good. Looked like it. Did his thing. And, the Chiefs have really come together in the right time. As much hate as the Chiefs get, and as much as they did have a rough season in terms of who they were running on the field, but the coaching, Andy Reid does such a great job. Steve Spagnuolo on the defensive coordinator does a fantastic job on defense. And so even when they're missing guys, even on offense with, you got guys out, D-Hop isn't playing, you got Rashee Rice is out, Hollywood Brown's out, and then it's all like, oh no, what are you going to do? You got Xavier Worthy and Justin Watson, but you're still winning games. Travis Kelce has a down season, you're still winning games. You still go 15-2, right? So, but now you have the Chiefs, that Chiefs team from September, October, which wasn't that great, but still won games. But now you have this Chiefs team now where D-Hop is playing good. Hollywood Brown's back. Xavier Worthy has looked great. The way he's moved along and progressed throughout the season, he's looked great. The defense, Spags done a great job over there. So, the Chiefs are in a really great spot, honestly. Defensively, they're so well coached, great chemistry, but, it's just they're in a great spot. Kareem Hunt looks good. Pacheco is also back. It's a really hard spot to be in. You have a team where the players have been in the system for forever, and they know what is expected of them. They have a championship pedigree, and they're going to play that way. So that's kind of how I feel about the Chiefs right now. Great spot. And for the Bills, man, it really is truly heartbreaking. They don't have the most talented team, and even in the AFC. They're definitely top 5, even just because of Josh Allen. But in terms of like the talent at receiver, the talent on defense, it's not all that compared to other teams, especially like an Eagles, a Lions, a Ravens, or a Chiefs, right? They just don't have the talent that really the good teams do. So it is truly special that they have such not a very talented team, but they make it this far. There's, as I said, with the Chiefs, I'm going to also say it with the Bills. Sean McDermott's done a great job. Joe Brady as offensive coordinator has done a great job. So just such a great team, great chemistry, and really uniting under a city in Buffalo. It makes it so sad that they have to lose, right? James Cook and Josh Allen played great. 0 turnovers on the night, but they're just, outmatched, right? I think next season they could definitely, make something happen. They have, I think, a good bit of money in free agency. They got a couple pending deals or pending guys, sorry. We'll see if they will make the deals or not. I'll do a more in-depth off-season podcast further towards the time. But really, just unfortunate. But I think next year, really, they have an even better chance than they did this year. So that's kind of how I feel about the 2 games. We'll take a peek over into chat right now, see what's going on. What it do, gang? Strickland Avenue checking in. What up, Strickland? What up, Jay Rich? Do you think the Chiefs are doing dark magic to win all these games? I mean, it's really hard to not believe it, right? I mean, you see how many one-score games they've won, and they win them every single time, right? But I think what underlooked aspect, like it's easy to blame the refs or it's easy to say it's dark magic, but you look at how they're coached, you look at Andy Reid, you look at Steve Spagnuolo, they do such a great job coaching the football, coaching their team. They've been in the situations before. They're very experienced, veteran coaches, and they know how to get the job done. So, whoa. Coop, is that official? Is that official now? Thoughts on ex-Panthers and Baylor receiver David Geddes? Who is that? I'm gonna be real. I don't know who that is. Maybe it's just not elite ball nowhere. What do the Eagles need to do to win the game? Oh, it is official, Josh. Jeez. All right. What do the Eagles need to do to win the game? Play really good and not turn the ball over. Obviously, those are pretty basics, but the Eagles, I'll talk about it more in depth next week for sure. But Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts, I think it's going to ride a lot on Jalen Hurts again. I think the defense for the Eagles can definitely step up. I think there's definitely a reality where the Eagles are able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be a matter of can the DBs hang, right? Slay's been kind of burnt a couple times this season. You got Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, two rookies who are playing or starting for you, right? So it's going to be, is Andy Reid going to expose these guys, or is the defense going to step up? I think it's going to be a kind of defensive matchup, honestly. I could see it going that way, where it's really close, really low scoring, because, you really have great coaches on one side, great coaches on the other, great team on both sides. I think the Eagles is definitely the more talented roster, but the Chiefs, they have the championship pedigree that the Eagles don't, in my opinion. So, yeah. Bennett, you just going to let them air you out like that? I wouldn't. Me personally, I wouldn't, right? Yeah, let's keep going. So, yeah, we're going to do my top QBs in the NFL draft this year. So this is a list I've been working on the past couple days, and let's go ahead and get into it, right? Here's my little tool I'll be showing you guys, the prospects. But yeah, let's go ahead. So, top 10 quarterbacks in this year's draft. Obviously, the quarterback class for this draft is not the greatest. It's not last year's. It's not, like 2018 is probably the best comparison, the Jared Goff, Carson Wentz draft, where it's really the top two are the two premier options and the rest are not that great, right? So, did I say 2019 was Carson Wentz, Jared Goff? That's just not right. I forget which draft that was, but kind of similar to that, right? But, we have enough guys. I've got the knowledge, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. So honorable mention. I love my honorable mentions. Who is my honorable mention for this year's draft? It's going to be Mr. Riley Leonard here. So Riley Leonard obviously makes it all the way to the CFP, leads that UNC team, does a great job doing it. A lot of their success was dependent on him, so I'm all for that, right? And, you see the measurables here, 6'4", 216, very good build for a quarterback. 4'5", 40, 96th percentile for QBs. So very good, very athletic guy, right? But let's take a look at why he's only an honorable mention, right? So he can read the defenses very well, right? He's a true field general, a great leader of the team, I think, that Duke team 2 years ago, he was the reason why they were good. He was a big reason why this Notre Dame team was so good, right? And he's great at navigating pressure. He's very mobile. We saw that all season long. Excuse that voice crack there. And he has a lot of major concerns for me, though. It's leaving the pocket too quick. The below average arm strength, he can be accurate at times, but you don't really see it much. He struggles under pressure, struggles with reading the field. And when he's on the move, he kind of struggles with the accuracy, right? And it's kind of an issue when a lot of your game, right? Like a lot of Riley Leonard's game is being mobile with the football, and when you're throwing on the run is not that accurate, it kind of leaves you in a negative spot, right? And I think he kind of just lacks an overall spark, right? He doesn't have an it factor like a lot of these guys, like a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders does, So that's why he's at the honorable mention spot. So let's keep it going, right? Let's keep it going. So that's our honorable mention. Number 10 on our QB ranking list is the man. Let's see if I can find him. He's down here somewhere. Hold on. Here he is. Brady Cook. the babyface assassin right here. So first of all, let's talk about the wheels. Very fast, 4.6 40, 88th percentile. Not as fast as Riley Leonard, but still very fast for a QB, right? And let's talk about some pros. I like how he can hit receivers in stride. His escapability in the pocket is very good, with that speed. He's able to get out of the pocket. He's able to make a play, right? So, and as well as being able to escape the pocket, he has great poise in the pocket, right? He's able to stand in there. He's able to move up, and he's able to make the reads, right? And the footwork and all that, it stays consistent when he's stepping up, right? And he has good touch on the ball on all three levels, really, in the short, intermediate, and deep passing lanes. He's got good touch on the football. He's got really great IQ. As he's been playing college for 5 years, and a great leader. Really, I think, especially last year with that really good Missouri team, he was really the leader of that team. With you have Cody Schrader and Luther Burden. I think last year he was truly the leader of that team, and I think that was very evident in every game they played. I mean, they beat Ohio State 2 years ago, right? A couple issues with Brady Cook I have is the arm strength is pretty average, has great touch, but average arm strength. Has some processing issues, processing through reads, reading the field, and reading defenses. And he can stick to the deep ball a little too much. I mean, it's kind of hard not to when you have Luther Burden, right? But, he really can stick to the deep ball, and some choppy footwork when he's dropping back. So on his drop back, the footwork can get a little choppy, and then that leads to, the timing on certain routes not being there, missing windows, stuff like that. So that's Brady Cook there, a little baby face assassin over here, right? So that's number 10. Number 9, he's on page 3 over here. Number 9, we're going to go with Seth Hennigan here. So you guys might not know Seth Hennigan, but Seth Hennigan, QB at Memphis, I think he started all 3 or 4 years he played there, right? So 3 or 4 year starter, very experienced guy. And what a trend I noticed with NFL quarterbacks is really most experienced guys are the ones who end up playing well, right? So think about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels started as a freshman at Arizona State. And you can keep going on, Michael Penix, just to name a few from even last year's draft, right? People who have experience at the college level tend to do good in the NFL. So let's talk about Seth Hennigan here. So very calm in the pocket. If you guys haven't watched Memphis football, which I doubt anyone really has, but, he's very calm in the pocket, and when he's very calm in the pocket, he's able to make the right reads. He's great at processing the defense, processing his reads. This guy's not here, I got this guy, and so on and so forth, just reading the field, right? He's able to alter his arm angles and make great throws, right? So that's something that's pretty big in the NFL, especially with the size of NFL D-line and O-linemen. You're going to have to change that arm angle. A defensive lineman's coming at you. You're going to have to release it somewhere else. Giving you examples right now, right? But very good at altering the arm angles to make throws. Great touch on the football and great ball control. Not a lot of turnovers in college, right? Good accuracy, great at navigating the pocket. And, sometimes for Seth here, the velocity is just not there. Doesn't have that zip that a lot of the NFL quarterbacks do. Pocket awareness is not completely there. Like I said, he's calm in the pocket, and he's great at processing the defense, processing the reads and whatnot. But the awareness in the pocket is not there. The timer, it's all about that mental timer, right? So the timer is not completely there, and doesn't have elite arm talent. Talked about it with the velocity a little bit, but the arm talent isn't completely there either. And he challenges tight coverage a lot. He'll make a throw where it's like, oh, well, should you have thrown that? Maybe not. The DB's right on his hip, but you're still throwing it. All about having trust in your receiver and all, but he challenges that tight coverage a lot. But honestly, I would not be surprised. Seth Hennigan, to me, has a really high ceiling. He, doesn't project to be a very high pick by any means, but I think he does have legit potential, right? I think a lot of his issues or flaws are things that can be fixed. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. I really like what he can bring. He's got pretty decent size at 6'3", 215, maybe a little thin, but I think he has the measurables there. I think he could be a sleeper name that, we come out and we're like, whoa. Dang, chat is popping today, boys. Good to see y'all. I'm gonna take a little chat break to see y'all. So score prediction for the Super Bowl. Honestly, I could see it being like 23 to like 17 or something low like that. Eagles by 100, of course. If it ain't darn, I don't want to hear it. You gotta wait. Good question, Cooper. I was thinking this, Sam. Can you give us a comment price? Listen, man, I'm not one to comment on anyone's business, but I'm happy. Let's just say that I'm happy. What you keep swallowing for? Because my mouth is dry, honestly. Sorry about that. Van poses a good reiteration of Cooper's question. Can we get a comment surrounding Rachel? Wow, that's crazy. You see, Bennett, this is what happens, man. Is Dart one, Stu? You're just going to have to find out, man. I'm not telling you now. You're going to have to find out. You're going to have to watch. So let's keep it going. Seth Hennigan at 9. Number 8. My number 8 quarterback in the draft this year is Curtis Rourke from Indiana, sorry. So Curtis Rourke, before he played at Indiana, he was at the University of Ohio in Athens, Ohio. Little MAC school. But he played really good over there. That's how you parlay a transfer over to Indiana. Get noticed by a great head coach. And, I can't remember. I never remember this guy's name. Curt Cignetti. There we go. So that's how you get noticed. And let's talk about Curtis a little bit. So Curtis Rourke, 6'5", 230. I mean, just great size for a quarterback, right? Really has the sizes there. So I really like him in terms of his build. And he's a great anticipatory thrower. Great mechanics and footwork in the pocket, right? He's great in the intermediate game, very accurate, can hit a guy in stride. And he has great eye discipline and shoulder fake. So kind of an underrated aspect of a quarterback is, having that. You see it like Matthew Stafford, for instance. That's what this kind of makes me think of, right? Matthew Stafford, when he can stare a guy down and then throw it to someone else, or he's able to make the defense move just with his eyes or with his shoulders, right? Like I said before, Curtis Rourke has a great frame. But, the things that kind of hold Curtis Rourke back is he's, below average athleticism, kind of that pocket passer kind of build, and more of a game manager, right? And then he's 24 years old as a rookie, which will, obviously Bo Nix was successful, but not a lot of 24-year-old guys can develop much further. And Curtis can kind of struggle under pressure, right? We saw it with that Notre Dame game, the Ohio State game. When he has pressure coming, he kind of struggles to, make the reads or get out of the pocket, So that is my thoughts on Curtis Rourke. Number 8 on the QB list. Thoughts on Stafford not saying go dogs? Dude. Messed up from Matt there. Really. Dart is not it, pal. That's right. Josh Hersey, UDFA. Nah, if I'm a GM, I'm drafting Josh Hersey. Let's be real. Let's go to number 7. To Will Howard. So, this is a lot lower than, what I've been seeing a lot on social media, other podcasts and stuff. They have Will Howard like 5. I don't necessarily agree. I do think he's had a great run in the CFP. He's one of the biggest risers from the CFP, like the whole college football playoff was a huge boost to his stock, right? And he's got great physical attributes, right? I mean, he's 6'4", 235. He can move, and he can break tackles too, right? That was my desk, by the way. Let's continue, right? Great physical attributes. He's got immense strength. He's able to extend plays even after contact, right? He's able to break tackles, which you don't see in quarterbacks a lot. And he's great in the play action. We saw it a lot at Ohio State. When you have that two-back duo of Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. And even when he was at Kansas State with Deuce, I think is his name. I forget the running back's name, but DJ Giddens and all that whole crowd, great running backs at Kansas State. able to use the play action, and he's really good at processing in the play action. And with that comes great timing. He has great timing on the anticipatory throws, and when he's protected, he can make great reads. So kind of a great play action quarterback, right? When he's protected, we saw it in Ohio State's run this year. He's able to make great reads and passes, right? He's able to get the ball to his receivers, his Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka, throw for 300 yards. But of course, every quarterback has to have, or every prospect, has their downside. So let's get into that. So for me, he's got kind of like a sporadic ball placement, especially under pressure. It gets a lot worse. But you look at the placement, when you have a guy like Jeremiah Smith, placement isn't a big deal, but it can be sporadic at times. Once again, just like Curtis Rourke, he's still 24, which as a rookie, is going to hinder your development a little bit, and he can really crumble under pressure. We weren't able to. The Ohio State O-line did a great job of negating pressure, but you saw it against Michigan. Against Michigan, Michigan was able to get pressure, and he crumbled, and they lost the game, right? So that's kind of how I feel about Will Howard there. Number seven QB. So number 10, we had Brady Cook. 9, Seth Hennigan. 8, Curtis Rourke. And number 7, Will Howard. Let's keep it going. Next up, we got the lefty, Dillon Gabriel. So, from Hawaii, also a very tenured college quarterback, right? Let's get into it. So he's great at processing defenses. He's able to diagnose and exploit defenses, not like a lot of the quarterbacks can in this draft class. He's got great IQ. I mean, that comes with, playing the game for so long. It was noticed, at Oklahoma, Oregon, even UCF, he looked great. And you can really see his knowledge for the game. And with that, comes the timing. His timing on the anticipatory throws are very good. And he has a pretty above average arm talent, right? But almost got to the negatives too quick there. But he's got good pocket presence. He's able to stand in there. And, he's not going to falter until the last minute. But let's keep going. So with the negatives, below average physical measurables, as you can see, only 6 foot, 200 pounds. You look at him, he's kind of a thinner guy too, kind of shorter. So below average physical measurables. And he doesn't have elite zip on the ball. I think that is also part of what it comes with, like being a lefty. You look at the lefties in the league. The only one I can think of with great zip was like Michael Vick, but like Tua, I feel like doesn't even have great zip. Even Michael Penix, he has better zip than Tua in my opinion, but it's not elite. It's not like the Josh Allens, Pat Mahomes, even like the Drake Mays. Drake May has great zip, but Dillon Gabriel, he'll struggle under pressure sometimes. We've seen it in the Shrine Bowl actually. If you guys have been paying attention to that past couple days, when he's getting out of the pocket, he's either in there for too long or he's making an ill-advised throw downfield. He hesitates with the throws over the middle. He's great on the boundaries and the numbers, but over the middle, there's a bit of hesitation there where you're missing windows. And he's not great at creating plays out of the pocket. Once again, we've seen that at the Shrine Bowl this year. So that's number 6, Dillon Gabriel. Let's take a look at chat here. Since you guys are going crazy tonight, I love it. 28-10. Wow. All right, let's keep it going. So, number 5, we got Quinn Ewers. So, a later addition to the draft this year. A lot of people thought he was going to stay, but he ends up going. So, I have him at 5. He's great at distributing the ball. We saw it at Texas a lot. He'd find, there's so many receivers over at Texas. You got Isaiah Bond, Golding, even Jaden Blue out of the backfield, Gunnar Helm. He was able to distribute the ball very well, and you can even see it in the stats. And he's great at hitting crossing routes. He's got good accuracy on the short and intermediate passes, and he's very consistent. 20 straight games with a touchdown. But, with that, Quinn Ewers is one of the more polished quarterbacks in this class in terms of his tools and in terms of what he's good at. But a lot of the things he's bad at are what are the major concerns for me, right? So in terms of talent, he's very talented. He's one of the that I have him at 5 for a reason. He's probably one of the top 5 most talented quarterbacks in this draft. But to me, there's just the concerns are immense. Under pressure, he's terrible. Sorry. If you're a fan of the pod, you know I've been talking about it for forever, since the SEC championship, since even before that. If you put this guy under pressure, he struggles. He makes bad reads. He throws picks. It doesn't. He doesn't do good. He struggles with the pre-snap recognition sometimes. We saw it with Georgia. Georgia was really able to expose that when they would shift the linemen or they'd shift the edge rushers or they'd have those crossing blitzes. Like he would struggle with the recognition on that. He doesn't really have a special arm, in my opinion. Talent wise, like he's not up there. He's not able to throw it, 70 yards. His arm isn't elite. And then he's just not creative when the play breaks down, right? So the play's breaking down, you're going out of the pocket, and you're trying to get guys to go this way, but you just don't see that creativity with Quinn Ewers, and that's what I mean. You saw it in the CFP against Ohio State. He gets out of the pocket, but instead of making a play or something, taking off or getting a receiver open, instead it's a strip sack for a touchdown to lose the game, right? So that's where we got Quinn. Quinn at number 5. Let's keep it going. Number 4. Stuart, you're about to be a happy man. Number 4, we're going with, where is he? There he is, Jackson Dart. So, absolute gunslinger, right? That guy, he's just elite when it comes to throwing the ball in terms of, he's got a cannon on him for sure. He's got great feel for the immediate and deep passing. We saw it all season at Ole Miss. You got Trey Harris. You got all those receivers. I just can't think of them off the top of my head, sorry. But you have great receivers at Ole Miss that are great at going deep. So he's able to, hit those targets. He's got a great feel for that deep and intermediate passing game. He can adjust. He can adjust to different throwing angles very well. He's also great at play actions in the RPO. That's just the Lane Kiffin offense, right? We said that about Matt Corral, didn't we? But yeah, no, he's very good at adjusting the throwing angles, just like I was talking about with Seth Hennigan. He has, he's great at the play action, great at the RPO, which, we see it a lot in the modern NFL offense. But to me, the precision is not really there. The accuracy is, it's hit or miss for me. He'll overthrow wide receivers. He'll put the ball in harm's way. We saw that against Florida, and he can force the throws. And once again, we also saw that against Florida. It's pretty easy to force throws though when you're throwing it up to Trey Harris every time, but it's going to be an issue in the NFL. And against high caliber defenses, this is a very interesting statistic that I found is that Jackson's Dart's production just significantly dips against high caliber defenses, against the Alabamas, the Georgias. I guess we have the one exception from this year, but the production just dips against a really great defense. So little water break there, but let's chug on, shall we? Number 3. So we got 3 quarterbacks left. So who could be left out of this list? We're going with Kyle McCord, baby. So it could be a little shocking, right? But I think Kyle McCord is like the best pocket passer in this class. The mechanics are great. The accuracy is great, even on all levels of the field. Short field, midfield, intermediate, the deep ball. He could put it in the breadbasket every single time. We saw it at Syracuse. We weren't able to see it at Ohio State, and that's the one gripe I'll have with Kyle McCord. We'll talk about it when I talk about his flaws, but he makes great reads. He has great mechanics. He's got great accuracy on the deep ball, and he's just a great all-around pocket passer. He's able to work through reads, but the flaws: limited athleticism. He's a pure pocket passer. He's not fast by any means. He had a few scrambles in college, but you see the 4.95. Not really elite in terms of mobility or anything like that. Like he's purely like a Kirk Cousins, a Tom Brady. Not to compare him to those guys, but to say that he is a pocket passer. Like he's not moving around anywhere quick, right? But let's continue on. He forces throws sometimes. and that causes them to miss opportunities. So he's forcing throws downfield, or he's forcing it to one receiver, causing picks and whatnot. You can see the interceptions there. It's 12, which is pretty much, it's a lot. It's a lot, right? So what is my most worrisome concern with Kyle McCord? To me, it is the lack of experience, right? So I like McCord as a quarterback. He has great measure, the way he could throw the ball, the way he's accurate and all that. To me, he's the best passer in this class. I cannot say it enough. But he just has no experience, right? He went to Ohio State. I think he had that 1 year at Ohio State, and he wasn't that great. Or did he even have the year at Ohio State? I don't remember. But, Ohio State, obviously they brought in Will Howard and he left. So he lost the job to Will Howard pretty much. And then he starts a year at Syracuse. So 2 years of experience, and that's the most concern for me, is just the level of experience there. So bronze medal to Kyle McCord. I think, especially with the combine and pro days and stuff, I think he's going to be the biggest riser out of every quarterback. So you guys might not see the vision yet, but it's coming. Number 2. Who do we have at number 2? Shedeur. Told me bust down my AP. I'm not going to say anymore because I don't want to get copy striked. So, Cam Ward. Shedeur Sanders. To me, he's very close second to the guy I have. He's it's 1A, 1B type of beat, very close to the guy I have in first, sorry. I think the great thing about Shedeur is Shedeur has such a high ceiling, right? He's great in the short and intermediate passing game, 74% completion percentage, great accuracy in those situations. He's able to hit the wide receivers in stride, and he does a very good job of it, right? To me, the mobility is a concern. A lot of people say he's very mobile, he's able to get out of the pocket, but you look at the sacks he takes, especially in that BYU game, it's just kind of astronomical that you can't get the ball out. You got to get the ball out quicker. You got to, if you think you're going to get sacked, you need to throw the ball away. Shedeur Sanders, he's a great quarterback. He has a pretty good 40 time, but he's not a Jaden Daniels. He's not a Lamar Jackson. So it's you can't replicate those guys, in my opinion. You just got to be it. And I don't think that Shedeur Sanders is it. I think he's trying to be it. But, that's going to lead to sacks. And people say, oh, he plays behind a battle line. And he does. Truly, he does. But I think his team would suffer a lot less if he was able to throw the ball out quicker. So that's what I think about that. He's inconsistent when it comes to the pressure. Like I said, O-line at Colorado wasn't great. So the decision-making kind of deteriorated as, defenders got in the backfield, which, what can you do there? But overall, Shedeur, I think, has a lot of promise, very high ceiling. Obviously the name and the whole Sanders stuff that's been going on, it's kind of the hot name to rip on, but I do think that he does have legit talent, right? So I like him. I like him at number 2. But number 1, you guys know who it is. My favorite QB from last year, it's Cameron Ward. I mean, guy's just elite. I've been a Cam Ward lover since, back in the day when he was at Washington State, when he's at Incarnate Word. Yeah, so, I've just been a big fan of Cam Ward's game. I've kept up with him for so long. Real ones remember in the group chat me fighting for my life, saying Cam Ward's going to be him. Nobody believed me. God did. And now we're here, right? So Cam Ward probably projected to go number 1 overall to the Tennessee Titans as it still stands. And to me, he has the most skill out of all the QBs in the draft when it comes. Maybe, as I said before, Kyle McCord is my passing guy. But I think, or not Cam Ward, sorry. Kyle McCord is my passing guy. Cam Ward is very close second to that. He has an absolute cannon. He can get the ball into tight spaces. He can throw a guy open. The deep ball is magnificent. He's very agile in the pocket, and he has great timing as a quarterback, right? And he has a great timer in his head. He knows when to get out of the pocket. He knows when to be mobile, when to scramble, and that led to them winning games. So I really like Cam Ward. I think he has the most upside. I think he has the most potential. I think he's the most polished quarterback in this class. And with that, sometimes he could try and do too much. We all saw the memes. Oh, he's so nonchalant, blah, blah, blah. And, it's really because he does too much sometimes. And I think that's a big flaw to his game. But I still think he has a lot of potential, right? He can be mobile at times. He's able to get out of the pocket when he needs to. So that is Mr. Cam Ward there. That is our top 10 QBs, or my top 10 QBs of the NFL draft. I'll take a look at chat here before we switch gears, right? Shedeur equals high ceiling. That's right. Perfect timing. Jared Ivey, second or third round projection, lottery talent. I need to check him out. I can't wait to do more of these. I think I'm going to do a whole episode just like catering to running backs and wide receiver classes and whatnot, or running back and wide receiver class for the draft. Running back, I think this is the most talented running back class that the draft has had since like 2016, when it was like CMC, Aaron Jones, and all them. Wide receivers, kind of lackluster, but I think there's some good names in there. Obviously, we're going to do defense, O-line, all that good stuff. So I'm very excited to keep on talking about it. Y'all got to stay tuned. It's going to be great stuff. So let's keep it going. We're going to switch gears here to basketball. So if you guys didn't know, I've been talking about the NBA, or I've been talking that I will go over the NBA for so long. Like since like the first episode, I've been like, yeah, we're going to talk about basketball and stuff, and we really haven't. But we're finally here. What I thought would be best, given the time we have left, only about 14, 15 minutes, I'll just go over what I think about some of the best teams right now in the East. Next week we could do the West and whatnot. Make sure you guys know the foundation of what I think about every team. And as we move along, we could talk about All-Star break. We could talk about the trade deadline, Jimmy Butler situation, all that great stuff, De'Aaron Fox situation. So there's just a lot of things to talk about with the NBA. I've been quite enthralled. I've been really keeping up with it, like low-key more than I keep up with football, which is kind of surprising. But let's go ahead and get into it. So we're just going to go down the list, honestly. Give you guys just a brief overview of the teams, how I feel about them. So the Cavaliers. Great built team, right? First in the Central Division, obviously. Let's just take a look at the roster, right? You got Jared Allen, you got Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, one of the one of the best young players in the NBA right now, and you have the stars. You have Donovan Mitchell, who is a certified star in this league. You got Darius Garland, who's a great point guard, only 25 years old. Jared Allen, who's a great center, great guy to man the middle. And what I really like about this Cavs team is the spacing, right? It makes so much sense. You have, your good point guard and Darius Garland, super athletic. He can give you 10 assists a night sometimes, and he's able to also drop a 30 bomb. And then Donovan Mitchell, Mr. Consistent. He's going to have 20-something a night. He can hit the three ball. He can drive to the basket. He's a really great player. You got Evan Mobley kind of as that defensive anchor, alley-oop kind of guy. He's just a great defender all around, especially in the post. And, Jared Allen obviously is also pretty decent at that, but I think the spacing works really well. He's able to fit in those gaps. And then, in that small forward spot, you got Niang, you got Okoro, elite defender. You got Niang, who can hit the nice shots. You got Max Strus as well, who can also hit the nice shots. So it's like the Cavs are probably one of the best built teams in the NBA right now. And their bench, Ty Jerome dropped 30 the other night. Karis LeVert is always a solid bench piece. Sam Merrill's a good bench piece. Like, you have shooters on the bench. You have you got experience. You got veterans like Tristan Thompson. You got Dean Wade down there as well. Like, I think they have one of the best built teams, and you can see that in their record. They're 38-9. So that's kind of how I feel about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Next, we're going to talk about there we go. The Boston Celtics, last year's NBA champions, world champions, right? They let's just get into it. So, obviously, their guard rotation is elite between Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard. All those guys are super good. Derek White. You have 4 elite guards that you can rotate in and out. That's insane. All the power to him. Great stuff. And then you got Al Horford, great veteran presence, and is still playing pretty decent for his age. You got Luke Cornett, who when the time he's in, he's good. Kristaps has been playing lights out the past couple weeks. I mean, last night I think he had 8 3-pointers and like 35 points. So Kristaps, kind of the big matchup nightmare for a lot of teams, especially when they already have to guard Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And Jason Tatum has been struggling recently. I have noticed that. But, you look at the age of these players too. Jaylen Brown's 28. Obviously, Jrue Holiday's a little old. Same with Derek White. But Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown being your two, and then even Kristaps Porzingis still only 29, you're going to have success for years to come. But you have Pritchard. Pritchard's an elite shooter. You got even the bench pieces like Xavier Tillman. Xavier Tillman comes in and plays elite defense when he needs to. Same with Davison. And Sam Hauser, also an elite shooter. Like once again, one of the best built teams in the NBA. So really like the Celtics. They're doing a great job over there. Let's talk about the New York Knicks. The Knicks, I hate the Knicks, as you can see. Let's check the chat. Thoughts on LaMelo's snub from the All-Star game? He just doesn't play enough games. He's been hurt too much, right? And it's like, who are you going to put in over LaMelo? So I need to check the All-Star game list, see who made it and who didn't. But, yeah, I miss LaMelo. I just wish he'd play more, right? If LaMelo would play more, it's like it'd be a lot better, in my opinion. He'd have more of a shot than, Obviously, he's putting up crazy statistics. The one-legged threes are beautiful. But, yeah. Let's get into the Knicks. So, obviously, the Knicks were the big team this offseason. They traded for Mikal Bridges. They traded for Cat. So you get these two guys, very good. Mikal Bridges, one of the most consistent players in NBA history already. Hasn't missed a game in his NBA career. And he's truly a really good, small forward for the Knicks. I know he plays power forward for them. But you just look at this team. Jalen Brunson, breakout player from the Mavs, has looked elite all season long. Gets the All-Star start. I think it's first one, too. And then you got OG Anunoby for the defense. OG's an elite defender who can also give you 20 points if he wants to, right? He's averaging 16 this season, I believe. But he's there on the boards. He's there to play defense. He does a great job at his role. And then you have Josh Hart. Josh Hart, elite on the boards. I mean, I think he's only 6'4", 6'5", and he's averaging 10 rebounds a game. Just, kind of like that glue guy. Like, he is the guy, he's the comedic guy on the team. Like, everybody loves Josh Hart. I don't think anyone hates Josh Hart. He just gives heart. Josh Hart gives heart, right? He gives the effort. He makes the plays when he needs to. Like, maybe not the plays, but, like, in terms of a rebounding, assisting, like, playing defense, being a great role player, Josh Hart is a great role player. And, I mean, you see it. That's why Tibbs plays him 38 minutes a game. A lot of these guys play 38 minutes a game. But my one weakness for this team is probably the bench. We're going to start, as we start going down to the worst and worst teams, we're going to talk about, the issues. I don't really like Tibbs as a coach. He just plays the players too much, and but the starting five is great. And to get that starting five, though, their bench is not that good. So off the bench, you got Precious, you got Miles McBride, and Jericho Sims, I think and Mitchell Robinson campaign. I think those are the 5 guys they rotate in off the bench. They only play like 5 minutes a game. But they kind of, with that Tibbs coaching style where he plays the starters 38 minutes a game, that kind of comes with it. But I do also think their bench depth is extremely weak. Like, they don't have a great bench compared to, like, the Cavs, for instance. I think the Cavs have a great bench. Same with the Celtics. I think the Celtics have a really good bench. But the Knicks just don't have that, in my opinion. And I think that's the one thing that holds them back, especially when you're going in a 7-game series. When it matters most, you're traveling a lot. You're going back and forth. And, like, I think that's kind of where this team would falter, right? Next, we got the Bucks. So the Bucks, honestly, it's like, to me, for the Bucks, the time is ticking for them, almost. Yeah, their stars are good. You got Dame, you got Giannis. I used to would say Chris Middleton, but they're all over 30, right? Excuse me. And it's like I remember the days when Giannis was like 2016. Giannis most improved player season, like he was what? Like 21 back then? 22? And now he's 30. So I think there's definitely a timer for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I also, like the Knicks, don't really like their bench. You have Pat Connaughton, who, I'm sure he's a great locker room glue guy, but the production for off the bench, like, I think he even starts sometimes, it's just not there. Middleton has been hurt and on and off this season. But, Middleton, when he was on, he's been great. But I think Middleton also, the timer is ticking there. Brook Lopez, 36 years old, timer's ticking there. Love Splash Mountain, though. Taurean Prince, he's 30. Bobby Portis is 29. Like, a lot of these guys are getting up here in age. So that's why I think that the time is ticking. But the Dame and Giannis connection is elite, I will say. Especially the past couple games. They've looked great. They combined for like 70-something last night, I think. But they're very, very good. And I just think the bench is just not there. Like, you have Andre Jackson, who I think will develop into a good defender. A.J. Green is a great shooter. But past that, Portis is pretty good off the bench. But, Prince, in my opinion, Taurean Prince is past his prime. Gary Trent has not looked like himself since he's come to the Bucks. Completely forgot to say anything about Gary Trent. But, like, they've had DeLon Wright get minutes. And Atlanta also had DeLon Wright getting minutes last season. But we weren't good last season. So, Gary Trent, they got him for the defense, but he's kind of been struggling recently. So, not really a fan of the Bucks roster. I do think, as much as I hate it, the clock is ticking over there in Milwaukee, right? So I think the championship window for them is closing. I do think we could see something happen in the next 2 years where Giannis is out, or I think Lillard is definitely out within the next 2 years. So I think it's shortening over there. Next are the Pacers. The Pacers are one of the most fun teams in basketball, in my opinion. Last year I was very high on the Pacers. This year not doing so great, but I think they do have a great base. They have a lot of young players over there that are I think they're going to be successful. So Tyrese, obviously, that's their main guy, and I think Tyrese is very good. He can give you 10 assists a night. He can give you 20 a night as well. That jump shot is so broke, though. I hate his jump shot. It's so broke. So is mine. But Benedict Mathurin, I think, is a great, give you 15 a night kind of guy. I really like Benedict Mathurin. You got Andrew Nembhard, TJ McConnell, locker room glue specialist there. Just love TJ McConnell. Love what he brings. Love the defense, right? You got Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam. That was their big acquisition, I think, last year's trade deadline. They acquired Pascal Siakam. I really like the duo between Tyrese and Pascal. Obi Toppin, I think, is a great role player for them. Miles Turner, obviously, has been such a solid player for his entire career. But it's like, do I think this team can compete for a championship? No. But I think they're a fun team to watch. I think they're going to be a good team come playoff time. Like, I could see them winning a series and then, heading to Cancun after that, right? They win the series and then they lose the next one. Thomas Bryant, pretty good role center they got earlier this season. So, and Rick Carlisle is a good coach. I do like Rick Carlisle as a coach. So, kind of just mid. Nah, they'll make the playoffs and they'll probably win a series, but that's about it. This is the last team I'm going to go over, and then I'm going to open up to some questions from y'all. But the Orlando Magic. Let's get into it. So, Orlando Magic, probably, honestly, one of the better young teams in the country right now. You got Paolo, and you got... There's two names, really, you even need to think about. It's Paolo, and it's Franz Wagner. I mean, both are under 25 and are elite I love Franz Wagner. I love Paolo Banchero. I'm so glad the Franz Wagner breakout has happened. As you can see, that's just against Portland. But over this season, he has missed some times, but he's averaging 24 points this season. In his career in the past, he's only averaged 18 and a half, but averaging 24, basically 25 points this season, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and basically almost 2 steals. So he has been great this season. I'm really glad that it's worked out. I love Franz as a player. I loved him coming out of Michigan as well. So, and I also love Paolo Banchero. Obviously, the round 1, pick 1 of Orlando in 2022, averaging 24 points this season, and then 7 or 8 rebounds and 5 assists. So really just, I love the duo there. I think the duo in Orlando has a great future. They do need a couple more pieces. We'll get into that. But I think this is a great duo, especially for a team like foundation-wise, right? I think these guys are going to dominate the league here soon. So I really like them. It sucks that both of them have been hurt at the same time. But let's talk a little more about the other players. You got Cole Anthony, I think is a great off-the-bench point guard. You got Gary Harris for defense. I don't think he plays that much, though. Jonathan Isaac is a great defender. Jalen Suggs, also a great defender. And Mo Wagner really brings that oomph. I like him a lot as well. And, of course, they have Wendell Carter. The one complaint I have about this team is it's young. So, they're good. They're going to be good. But they have a lot to go through before they can, really start competing, in my opinion. And the bench is kind of lacking. Like, Cole Anthony is really good off the bench. But other than that, it's like I think they start KCP, Suggs, Franz, Paolo, and Wendell or Mo. I need to check what the starting lineup is, but I think bench depth, especially, bench scoring, I think the only true bench scorer for them is Cole Anthony. KCP has really struggled this season. Anthony Black as well. I think Anthony Black has good potential, but it's just not there yet. Goga, pretty good backup center. Mo Wagner, pretty good. It's a lot of pretty goods. I think successful NBA teams have either really solid benches or one standout guy on their bench that can lead their bench. And I just don't think the Magic have that quite yet. So that's my one gripe. So yeah, that's what I think about the Magic. And we're going to pause it here, and we're going to flip it back. And I think that's where we're going to conclude for tonight. Don't want to go too over the time. But I'll check chat. If you guys have any questions, please ask. Real spiel. Just say some stuff. I'll let the show go till like 7:05. And yeah, we'll get into it. If nobody has any questions, we can get out of here early. But I do love it when y'all ask. Makes me feel good. Oh, they just named the reserves. Huh. Well, I guess I can answer that LaMelo Ball question real quick. So they got, let's see, the East reserves. Wow, they don't even have Trae Young in there. That's pretty brutal. It's hard, right? Because, Dame's going to be a lock. Cade, I think Cade deserves it. Cade has been leading Detroit out of misery. Jaylen Brown, he's always going to be there. You can't do it with a guy like Pascal. Pascal, maybe. But Tyler Hero, should Tyler Hero have gotten in over LaMelo or even Trae Young? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Not in my opinion. But if y'all don't have any further questions, we'll hang glide out of this loser emporium. give it to, it is 7:05. All right. Well, that concludes today's episode of That's an Awful Take. Thank you so much for you guys all being here. Make sure to follow the Instagram and TikTok at TAAT Pod for short, on Instagram and TikTok. I think the link for the Instagram should be in the description. If it's not working, then please just search up TAAT Pod, and it'll pop up. It's got the same profile picture as YouTube. But thank you guys all for joining. I appreciate y'all. We had a great show today. 69 views total. Thank you so much, guys. I love doing this, so let's keep it rolling, right? Get this train rolling, right? All right. Peace, everybody. Thanks for watching. Follow the Instagram and TikTok. I'll see y'all later.